live. Here it is. Me and YouTube are not getting along. Whoop, I think it's starting. Yes, okay, YouTube. I'm glad that I'm able to stream here. I still have to upload the other video. Eventually, I'll make my way to TikTok. I gotta get, those followers and the like. But anyways, in all seriousness, though, you've tuned into That Girl, Jenna Carousella here. More of my input and opinions, but really fast. Let me just get past. Sorry, I should have had this in front of me. So I went to rewatch it, and then some of his work. He's an amazing comedian, writer, very, very talented. I had posted Epic Racket in Colleague. There's Pure. I cannot. Okay, it's rated R, but at the same time, if you were to watch the movie and screen it ahead of time, I don't think your children would be too bothered by it. It would be a good talking conversation film. So totally up to your discretion. Called Get Out. I'm going to retold by Angela L. Hunt. And the reason why I'm bringing up this story, if you've never heard about it, it's out there. Even for my teenage, junior high, preteen, college age, doesn't matter. It's a simple, short story, not even long, designed for children, but the storyline is so epic. Once you read it, you'll be like, oof, that hit me hard. Be like, thank you. I'm so glad I read that book because I can see things so differently. So I'm going to be talking about those on Friday. If you don't like spoilers, I don't like spoilers either. So I'm not going to spoil the movie, but I will talk about the book. The book's more important than the movie. I'll just give you the roundabout story, pull out some themes, but I really don't like to give spoilers. You need to watch the movie and have the experience yourself. So again, if you're just now listening at any point, Jenna Carousella on Anchor FM, YouTube Live, because I don't like wasting time, and I apologize for that. Okay, so back to, let me just give a quick recap of what I talked about yesterday, and I mentioned several times the longest walk, and I'm talking to myself as well. Just simply having to stop with whatever you're doing, whatever destructive lifestyle, and I keep talking about fourth wave feminists, backtrack and get back to your childhood. I just remember having to walk that hour. I'm pretty sure it was more than an hour. Now I'm thinking about it. Buses or whatever, but you enjoyed playing at the pool and you walked home and you had all your energy run out. You spent the entire day in the sun, and it was, at the time, it seemed like it was a very difficult thing to an extent. And unfortunately, a lot of us today struggle with walking, and once upon a time that was just standard. Even back in the Bible times, there's verses say not to exercise. It's not talking about not to get exercise, is they talk about not doing it for to be a gladiator type warrior, exercise for that type of stuff. We're talking about average walking Bible times versus what we're doing in modern times. So just the things that kids, I'm going to mention it and I don't actually mention it. So let me finally talk about it. Eye care and eye health. I recently watched a presentation about this eye treatment to help recover your eyesight. And I was able to write down what he researched and studied and found out that this is attainable. He has perfected the formula and created this wonderful, brilliant pill capsule combination from the best, The thing is that at this point in time, it's so new that it takes a lot of time for it to prepare. And right now, the price has to be very, really trickling down. The information is getting down, and within time, more accessible. But right now, I'm still learning about it myself. But the reason why I bring it up, and why I'm bringing it up now, is I saw this funny meme, and it pretty much said, reading is staring at a piece of dead wood and hallucinating. And I'm like, whoa, yeah, essentially that's really what it is. You're staring at stuff, because I'm always taking some notes. So you're staring at, which is a tree that's been cut down and turned into pulp and all this stuff, and turned into paper. And I recognize the symbols that have been written here, that have been etched. And while I'm looking at the symbols that have been etched into the paper, I'm forming a picture in my mind and I'm seeing the things that's being described. And yesterday I mentioned the longest walk. I also mentioned going to a winery and the simple things of life. You're staring at a dead piece of wood and hallucinating. That kind of makes sense, actually. Yeah, because you're really just taking in all these random things that have been etched. Could you imagine the very first time someone had a piece of paper or the equivalency of it? Like you're getting ink and then you're getting, I don't know, papyrus. I don't know what they used to use back then. Different types, leather, I'm sure. They made, or animal skins, leaves. They painted on rocks, obviously. And they would, chisel things in and etch them in. So at one point in time, though, humans, our minds, our brains, whatever capacities, at one point in time, they weren't able to do that. To have a documented written language like this, where we can keep the information and retain it. And these things never die. The information is there with you infinitely. So I think one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about, pretty much cutting or reducing the time of technology, because essentially light and the screen, it's moving. Do you realize that? That it's flickering, it's flashing really, really, really fast. When you watch a video, obviously he clips anyways, but it's pictures that are being flashed at you really, 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 really fast. And the situation with that is, and when you're watching something, consuming it, and you're being detained and things are being entered into you, which is called entertainment. Not all of it's bad. I'm not saying it's, obviously people are learning a lot of information. The world is expanding. We have pretty much the wealth of man's knowledge everywhere, exposed to all of these things. A lot of blessings can come from this. A lot of information, a lot of good information. So not complaining about it and talking about being able to preserve things and preserve your memory and being able to, actually appreciate hallucinating with paper or with reading things off of dead wood. It's like, this is something that we need to take into account for the future. And I'm learning about the safety of screen use and the stuff that phones use to transmit the information, how that actually affects your body in the long run. And finding moments of, blackout periods when you have no technology, and essentially retraining your brain, reprogramming your brain, and protecting your eyesight is one of my more recent things that I've trying to bring awareness to. Also, audio, of course, with the earbuds and headphones. That's been talked about, the delicate ears and all that stuff that goes into hearing. Then we get to focus also on our eyesight. Could you imagine, if you don't have the ability to access an eye doctor, if you don't, for whatever, essentially, you don't have the vaccine, or you're not in the right whatever standing, you're not in a good credit system standing with us, that's the situation you might find yourselves in, where it's always been, as much as they want to push that healthcare is a right, money speaks, money talks a lot louder. And if you don't have the right credentials or the right whatever, you might not be able to access these things. So I'm trying to tell people now, take preventative measures now and keep your eyes protected. There are supplements and nutritional things within nature, believe it or not, that will help repair your eyes. It's true. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there that will help repair your eye. It's what it does is it helps your natural body's ability to create the cells to heal your eyes. I forgot what they're called. I know when you're first born, okay, adult stem cells within your own body. It's what your body already produces naturally. There are chemicals and there are herbs and there are supplements or whatever you want to call them that are found in nature directly. I'll give you one of them that I remember off the top of my head, just spirulina. It's with an S. I'm not going to spell it out right now. It's called spirulina. So look into that. And there's other things too. And I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention before I forgot, to at least implant the idea in your minds to start thinking about these things. And because we've got people who don't care or don't agree, so we can take prevention, and you don't need to worry about the money or worry about the doctors. Your body was already designed to be a factory to reheal itself and regrow, and we need to continue to let our bodies do that, and as well as that is going to be enough, self included, of course. That's why I bring it up. So a huge where everyone's kind of we're kind of hitting a point right now. Sorry, let me clear my throat. Sorry. It's one of those things where my thoughts right now are coming out a lot faster than we're noticing the uptake in a lot of evil going on, loss of respect, and wake up. It's a spiritual awakening. There's some evil soon. So I don't want to go into any specific details. So I'm going to keep this very, very broad and very general intentionally, because I'm going to be very explicit. I'm not trying to cause any offense very specifically about this subject. I have to put the disclaimer out there, because as soon as I start talking about this, you'll understand why I have to be so broad and approach this so delicately, okay? So I saw another meme today that I felt very, very interesting, and it was pretty much along the lines of not using fear to motivate or to compel a person to think or behave a certain way. That's controlling a person when you use fear. And my argument when I heard that was, though, it's like, but fear, the feeling of being afraid, sometimes compelled or remind a person to be cautious and not to do something stupid, like the example with a gentleman working on aircraft equipment being told you're not supposed to wear wedding rings or any jewelry when you work on these jets. Obviously didn't listen, having the skin ripped off his hand. And I'm like, as a child, seeing the colored photos of this guy's hand, and that scared me. A lot of things scared me. But now I was feeling of fear. I'm not afraid anymore. And I think that's where we need to find the balance of being able to teach someone something, give them the information, educate them, and having them understand why the level of seriousness something is. So a lot of people, a lot of faith groups, for their particular faith background, for varying reasons, and I'm not even going to argue with them, not at all. But what I am going to say, though, is when I am approaching this very, very delicately and respectfully, are we using the tactics of fear and guilt as a way to continue to have them stay, or compelled or forced to stay? Or are you trying to make them understand these things, and that so that they can live and act respectfully or in a smart, wise way without having to live a life of fear, though? That's where I'm trying to figure out, as a parent, as a peer, as a person out here speaking to whomever is listening, or who's ever going to be reading, or who's ever going to be watching this content at any point in time and day. And I hope you're doing. I understand what the fears and concerns are, so let me have that knowledge and wisdom and respect those rules, but still continue to live my life, because you can't prevent everything, kind of. That's where I'm kind of torn up, because, again, going back to faith groups and religions, we have the standard ones. You have a lot of the general Christian background, I'm not going to go into specifics, that don't agree with drinking alcohol at all. Like, you don't drink alcohol. And then you've got lots of other groups who were like, you're following the God's commandments and his laws, and you're not becoming belligerent where you're doing, and you're going to church, and there's a lot of people who just, that's after hard days of work or a week or whatever, and they're celebrating with family, having some drinks it's the best blessing for them, or there's medicinal purposes for it. Now, here's the thing, though. Every person is different. Every person responds to things differently. And does it truly line up with what person's benefit? And that's where it's like, okay, now we have a problem when the person feels guilty. People around them are exposing them to and telling them that what they're doing is wrong. It's like I said, you have to be very, very thinking about how we respond to things, especially with like the government, and telling us about all these different things going on. Are we genuinely like living in fear? If you have faith in a higher power in God and fear in the Lord, and there's just another one where you're gonna have to type of fear, like fearful. And then when we're referencing God, this is where it's so difficult for I think non-believers, and this is probably why some of them get hung up, because I've heard Oprah herself say, like, she doesn't want to submit. Then yeah, that makes sense actually. If you are in good standing with God and you don't respect him, or if you don't acknowledge him and give him the praise and glory which he deserves, him and his glory, the Son, yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. You would have a omnipresent, like just amazing godness. It's a feeling of just, I don't know how you can describe it. It's not like you're afraid, but you just know, like, it's like an irreverent type of like awe, like, oh my gosh, like, woo. Think about, I guess, that feeling when you meet a celebrity worthy, and it's like, but oh my God, I want to be around you. But it's like, oh my God, it's like, oh my goodness, you're so amazing. Like it's you. And it's like in all the power. If you think about Moses, he couldn't even really see him. He could only see the back of him. And he was still glowing. The light was radiating off of him, where people were like, dude, Moses, get away from us. Dude, like, put a veil on. You is too bright. You is too bright. So when you think about the fear of the Lord, it's just like all of the light and the power and the magnitude and just the complete admiration, and just like you're humbled because, like, oh my gosh, he is everything. Like, he's like literally energy and life and perfection, and just complete. I can't even wrap my mind around. You're not afraid, like you're scared of like he's gonna kill you. Like, oh my God, it's God. Oh my God, it's God. It's more like it is wow. Like, he is everything. Like, so we talk about the fear of the Lord versus being fearful versus feeling guilty. And let me bring up another talking point. A guilty conscience, it's very, 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 very complicated. So again, I'm just putting some thoughts out there. Oftentimes these are designed to get your brain thinking, because you've got parent, child, or I need you to respect my authority type thing. Like, I'm the mom or father, like, le padre, respect le padre. When you discipline your child, is it you want them to be a little bit afraid, but not completely traumatized, rather seriously the cautions that you want them to realize about the world? So it's like, how do you gauge that? Where do you find the balance? And then if you are a bigger institution like a church, are you instruction to give them the correct information so they'll improve their life and live a life at peace without being afraid and fear? Like, we have to consider our tactics and what the effects are of what we're saying or doing, and how it actually does, impact someone else. So this is something that I've had to myself examine, of course, and this is why we're here. This is why we're talking about it. So definitely issues about the fear fact. They have to live in fear or feel guilty for things. But at the same time, if you're not aware that's a problem and someone's addressing you, hey, this is a problem, it's up to you to decide, I guess. Ultimately, if someone's presenting you information that you don't agree with or you don't like, ultimately it is for you to decide what to do with it. It is your choice how to respond to the information, whether or not you like it or you don't. So take all of that into account. I'm understanding it myself, trying to find the balance. So this is a learning process. But let me move on to something very interesting. I titled this segment, Talk About the Future in Past Tense. There's a line in the very, very intro. where he's like, I walk to your house on my lunch break. Here it comes. You're probably going to tell me everything you think. Here it comes. And there's a fun one that says, talk about the future in past tense. Here it comes. Yeah, well, here it comes. So I'm going to talk about the future in past tense. If you'll follow me with this, you'll kind of be like, okay, Jenna, she's coming out with the Stone Age stuff. I said patriarchy again. Okay, bear with me, please, because I know the patriarchy's got a lot of negatives on it. I've been examining the battle of the sexes a lot for the last couple of days, and let me just tell you, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not a fan of the patriarchy right now because I keep thinking about my good friend King David, and as much as I respect the Lord, my God, and I know that David had a heart of gold, a man after God's own heart. He was constantly, I'm listening to the Psalms. I kid you not. I've been listening to the Psalms on repeat one day and 1,000 elsewhere. So if you don't know where that's from, it's from a song where they say, better is one day in your courts, better is one day in your house, better is one day in your courts than 1,000 elsewhere. So, and then closer to the closing, I had one church that introduced me to this little aspect to it. They extended the song, and it was to me so pretty. And she's like, literally saying, better is one day, better is one day, better is one day than 1,000 elsewhere. So when I say that, I truly mean, like, in some of these psalms and the things that I quote in my head and things that I post on Facebook, it's written by King David. And I totally get his spirit, his love, his heart. I do. But I'm also living in a modern society. I respect what you have written, and I respect your authority. So the patriarchy, this is what drives me insane. These are the things where I tell the story a lot. So I'm going to say it again. If you haven't heard it from my other past streams, this is my first time sharing it on my podcast. So brace yourself for this, because I say talk about the future in past tense, dude. I've never thought I would ever be saying this. Let me tell you what I heard from a PE coach back when I was in high school. So we were doing some push-ups, right? The girls were doing our push-ups. And this fool just straight up comes up and says to us, he's like, girls, you better get your arms strong. So, because you're going to be watching some windows. Get ready to wash the windows. Get those arms strong so you can wash the windows. And we're just like, no, never. Well, come to find out, 10 plus years out of high school, you know what? I do not like dirty glass. Just clean this sliding door, and you don't put your grubby little fingers all over my glass. I like to look outside because the birds be out there, right? And they be eating up picking out the dirt and the whatever, and they be picking at the fallen leaves. And you see a little bit of movement, and they're just out there having the time of their little birdie lives, right? And I like to sit there and watch them. And I'll be even in their bedrooms after I've cleaned all the windows. And then we'll just sit out there and we'll watch the birds. And it's really cute and innocent and simple. Because they happen to, I don't know why, there's like at least 100 of them chilling in the backyard. It's weird. But as soon as, the kids, for whatever reason, want to drag their little dirty fingers all over the windows, I'm just like, you know what? That was my moment of peace and getting away and just tuning into nature. But you know what? No, you got to put your dirty fingers you got to lick your fingers and rub it all over the glass. So, patriarchy. Maybe he could see into the future and he knew that I would be OCD. Maybe he knew that. Maybe he's like, I can read this girl. This girl's going to be a great house cleaner. Just wait. She's going to be great at customer service. She's going to detail clean. And I was very offended by that statement. Very offended. I also really used to like Linkin Park. I don't like Linkin Park anymore, and I am not offended. Well, okay, I take it back. I do like Linkin Park, but I think I don't like the strong emotional and emo scene that was thrust on us, along with poor Britney Spears. But so that's one of the reasons why I grew out of it. Not so much the music and not the culture. I do like Linkin Park. I just don't like the era and what came around from it, and all the other conspiracy stuff I won't talk about. So, but I am not offended by that statement. Now, was it disrespectful and bad taste? of course. But also, I'm thinking now, looking back, he knew as an adult would probably be able to check or see the future, as in like understand trends and how he. There are so many different personality types out there. There are so many different. The course of entire mankind, there's been different waves of women trying to get themselves out there into the working force for varying reasons. I know a lot of people are a fan of I Love Lucy. She's amazing. And that you, if you remember watching the episodes, her husband was on television. She was always trying to find a way to get on stage and perform, you know, and he tried to keep her at home. In so many regards, that is actually a very wise thing for the husband to be very concerned about his wife's safety and well-being and not to put her out there. But at the same time, we need to find the delicate balance and saying, we have a lot of talent and we want to be our, to share with the world, but also done, to say, hey, I've got talent. I want to bring this to the world and contribute and share. And you're expected to just do the basic function, you know. So when I say speak about the future and past, and we're at this point in time where we were given a lot of freedom and liberty and given pretty much whatever we wanted. All of us, we were living at the luxuries of the best luxuries of the world can offer us. Really, we're at a point now where it's like technically in the West you can get whatever you want, and we've gotten quite comfortable. And yesterday I mentioned the word complacent, and some of us are just we're a bunch of water and junk food, and we're just getting stagnant and sitting around getting nasty. And then there's others of us who are like completely just completely zombied out, zonked out. Like you're not even, I don't even know what to classify you as. So we're at a point now, we've been overindulging and overindulging. And much as I cannot stand saying this as an independent Black woman at one point in time, whatever that means, we're going to have to take that long walk and get back into PE class and get our arms strong so we can wash those damn windows. Because I'd be tired of looking at dirty windows. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that came from the past, and that's the future goal. To like literally start like cleaning those dirty windows so we can actually appreciate, like clean our lenses, clean our eyes. Oh, there you go, right there. There you go. That's a funny God thing right there. We gotta take care of our eyes, get some eye health in, cut some of the screen use, and clean our windows, clean our lenses, clean our glasses. Start to see the world a little bit differently because it's changing really fast. We need to wake up because we might be in a blackout and we might not have access to certain things, or some people might not be able to get to the hospital because of varying laws and whatever, and there's oppression, and then there's crazy stuff happening. So in all seriousness, like I said, Friday, hang on one sec, let me add a little pin in there, a little note, really fast, everyone. Okay, so before I forget and get off of here, in all serialness, I'm going to be doing the Freaky Stuff Fridays, and I'm going to be doing my movie review. So if you're into movies, check out Get Out. I went to the library and got this actual DVD. But if you can stream it, I highly recommend you watch Get Out really fast by Jordan Peele. Super huge fan. And then I'm going to talk about The Legend of the Three Trees, or what is this actually? Oh, The Tale. It's just a tale of the three trees. And it's one of those books where you're just kind of like, that was short, that was simple, and that was very, very impactful. It'll be like, dude, that hit me a little bit differently. So with that, again, you've been listening to That Girl, Jenna Kurosawa, on Anchor FM, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. If you want to check out some of my weird pins on Pinterest, it's there. I got a little Twitter, I got an Instagram, and some crazy TikTok videos. It's all under Jenna Kurosawa. And with that, I hope whenever you're listening to this, watching this, reading it, that you're having a good day. I truly hope that. And If not, I'm sorry. I hope it gets better, and I apologize if I wasted your time. But take care and God's peace. We will definitely be back with more information, and I will be in touch with you guys.